Courage and honor, cousin.
Into the fires of battle, unto the anvil of war.
Hello, and welcome to Warhammer 40k's Grim History from the Beyond. I'm Zekthar.
And I'm Jurgen.
And we are the chroniclers of all that was, and all that will be in the 41st millennium. We've seen the rise and fall of many empires, and this month, we'll be explaining the 40k universe for people who are new to it. Maybe like yourself.
Now, the concept for this month's Voxes was established by one of our newer members, the Ladder Lord himself, Cullen. He is fairly new to the lore of 40k and just didn't know where to start.
Indeed. But remember, if you guys like the retellings of 40k lore that we do, you can support our channel by becoming a member on our YouTube channel. And more recently, you can purchase my book, The Jotunites.
Just click on the hyperlink or type in the title in the description wherever you get your books. You can get the ebook for just $5.99.
Quite right. But let us start in on this interesting Vox, shall we, Ukes?
Indeed.
All right. Well, this one has... Apologies, folks. This one has taken longer than we actually thought. We actually wrote a script for all the stuff that we've already talked about and what we're going to be talking about this week in one script. So we've already had 3 Voxes, and this one, anyways, we are going to be talking about everything else that has to take place in the Imperium of Man. Starting with everyone's favorite.
Oh, minus the politics, that is.
Yeah, we won't be going into like the High Lords of Terra. Although we probably will do a Vox of them at some point or another. But for those of you, anyways, that are beginners, you have to know about the Astra Militarum. Now, if you're not a Space Marine or affiliated with them in the 42nd millennium, but still fighting for the Emperor, then you are either part of the Astra Militarum or Navis Imperialis. Both play important roles, but today we will be focusing on the Astra Militarum. Just know that the Navis Imperialis is Space Force. If it wasn't for them, there would be no empire because nobody would be able to go anywhere. Now, the Astra Militarum, though, is the backbone of the Imperial military, comprised of billions of humans fighting the good fight to keep their planet safe and keep the Imperium grinding forward. We did 2 months, actually, on these guys, and the history of the Astra Militarum is a rather sad one. While it is chock full of brave heroes, the tactics and strategies have never advanced past grind the enemy to paste. You know, it actually reminds me of Terran 42's World War I tactics, and later on the USSR's tactics in World War II. Now, most troops in the Astra Militarum have very little training, a las rifle, which has been comically called a flashlight because it has the stopping power of a pellet gun, and are sent out to be meat shields for artillery barrages, better troops, and if you happen to survive, you're shoved onto an overcrowded shuttle and zipped off to the next place to die. The frustrating part about this is that it could all be avoided if those who ran the Astra Militarum cared, which they should, and they don't. Now, why I say they should care has little to do with the moral or ethical concepts, but in reality, it's really actually more expensive to do what they're doing right now. Proof of this is actually within their own ranks, with the Special Forces, and better trained regular troops that survive longer than 15 minutes. Unfortunately, the backwards thinking of those running the Militarum will probably end up being the doom of the Imperium, unless, of course, Rabute Gilliman can fix it. But before we move on, there are a couple of heroes that I would like to mention, starting with the hero of the Imperium himself, Cirkus Kane. Now, before we get to Cirkus Kane, I do really kind of want to talk about the tactics of the Imperium, or the Astra Militarum. They really are just quite terrible, aren't they, Jurgen?
Yes, but be brief.
Okay, fine. The thing about the Astra Militarum is that, I mean, okay, if you look at Terran 42 and the way warfare has worked, it has gotten faster. Correct, Jurgen?
Yes.
It's gotten faster and smaller. It's kind of a weird way of explaining it, but it's gotten where things have moved faster into fighting forces, and the fighting forces themselves have become smaller, more squad-based. Very much actually like in the the Milky Way system of 40K, the Space Marines, right?
Yes.
The Astra Militarum, though, works. It's gotten slower. It's gotten slower. It's just this concept of the rolling barrage over and over and over again. Not only that, but quite frankly, anyways, all the military equipment that they have established with it, and some of them are pretty cool. Their artillery is second to none, I will say.
Yeah.
But their tanks, the thing that I have a problem with their tanks is that they've gotten slower over the years, not faster. What they should be doing is reestablishing, anyways, like an air support. Okay.
I'm not sure if they've gotten slower.
They haven't gotten faster.
Yeah. Ones you're thinking of, I believe, are based off of much older schematics than the ones that they normally use.
The thing I'm thinking of is, quite frankly, anyways, they're really big tanks.
Yes.
Bigger tanks are slower than their... Okay, so their standard tank is called, ironically, the Lehman Russ tank.
Yes.
And there's all sorts of different models of it that, depending on what you're doing, they put different types of guns on it, pretty much. And it's not a bad tank. It's very robust. It reminds me, actually, you know what it reminds me of? Yuxin, it reminds me a lot of the Sherman tank in World War II. You need this thing anyways to burn through barricades? Let's strap a giant flamethrower on the top of it. This thing needs to blast like an artillery unit, but it's got to be mobile. Sure, we can put a big gun on it. That's the Lehman Russ. It's so maneuverable and versatile. It's a great tank. And then you get to the big ones. And the big ones, they move slower. They do huge damage to things anyways that are big. But that's the problem. If you've got a moving fortress, things that are faster are just going to take it out. Aircraft carriers or aircraft are just going to wipe the floor with it. What they really should be designing anyways is more aircraft, quite frankly. They should have like helicopters. They should have, jets. They should have the A-10 Warthog. If we could somehow, Yuxin, take the A-10 Warthog from Terran 42 and transplant it to the Mechanicum and go, you need to build this, and they actually listen to us, they would conquer worlds. In the course of like years. I mean, they just don't have something that really adapts like that.
If they decide to actually go, yeah, we'll do that, and actually hand it out to people instead of just hoard it ourselves.
Hoarding it themselves. Good point. But yeah. Okay, so yeah. Could you please give your 2 cents on the tactics of the military? I think we did 2 months on these guys. I think I explained it pretty well, but
yeah.
Did I miss anything?
The only difference is the fact that there are a few exceptions, like, for example, the Catkins don't. In general, they don't, I should say, not always. In general, they don't. The Tanith first and only generally don't, but part of that's because there's so few of them that they can't really do what...
So I kind of briefly talked about these guys, but what you're referring to anyways are different regiments within the Astra Militarum that actually have more than a training of, when I say forward, you go this way.
Yeah.
And they've done significantly better. Like you said, the Catkins... Yeah. Well, okay, first off, the Catkins don't really have a choice. Just simply on the world that they live on. It's a death world. It's either you learn to be a, ultimate fighting machine, or you die.
And then on the Tanith side, you're already on small amount of people. Let's try not to become extinct.
As opposed to, for instance, the Tanith you were talking about, anyways, also known as Gaunt's Goes. I don't even know if they're still around the 41st millennium, but because their planet blew up. But the thing about them, though, too, is they're very much like the Helldivers. Not Helldivers. What are they called? Elysian. Yeah, the Elysian divers. Where they actually spend time training these guys to do what they're supposed to do. Completely different jobs, by the way. The Elysian divers are the one. They're shock troops. They're fast in, fast out. They use jump packs. The Tanith first and only, on the other hand, anyways, they were designed. They train their guys to be scouts,
Right.
So picture Terran 42 Rangers or Green Berets. That's what they train them to be, and they're very good at it.
Yeah.
But they train them to do this.
But, of course, High Command looks at him and goes, well, there's some more meat shields. We'll just throw them on the front line.
There were repeated times, anyways, when you read the series was done by scholar Dan Abnett, called Gaunt's Ghost. There were repeatedly times, anyways, where they were just like, these are the best scouts we have. And they can move in and out of forest better than anybody else. Cool. Let's stuff them in a bunch of trenches and let's see how well they do. It's not their job, sir. I don't care. They're people with las rifles. But because they're also better trained anyways, they do tend to survive better than your average person.
Right.
But, okay. Enough about the tactics. We could go on and on anyways about how terrible they are. Let's talk about a few heroes. Yuxin, why don't you go ahead and explain real quick anyways. It's probably our favorite guy, both of us. I mean, we just talked about Gaunt's Ghost. Commissar Gaunt is a pretty cool dude, but Commissar-wise, there's probably nobody better than Cirkus Kane, right? The hero of the Imperium.
Okay, so Cirkus Kane is, not to go very long on this, is somebody who's become a hero through his own
need of survival.
He screws himself over, basically, is how he ends up getting in the messes. Let's just put it that way. His original outlook is, I'm just going to try to survive in a cushy sort of position, not have to deal with all the crap or be shot in the back like most commissars, because commissars are one of the worst types of officers ever.
They're up there with chaplains that we talked about last week.
Oh, actually, some would say they're worse than chaplains because of the fact that it's just like, you dropped your gun? Well, you're dead now. And they shoot him. It's like, I just dropped my gun, sir. Doesn't matter.
The best commissars don't do that, though.
No.
Those with those with two brain cells rubbing together are better than that.
Which means there's a lot of commissars out there that don't have any rubbing against each other.
Very, very smooth-brained. They are, yes. But, yeah, like you said, anyways, Cirkus Kane, I mean, quite frankly, he's a victim of his own survival instincts.
Yeah. So he'll go like, I think it'd be better if I went to this place, because it seems to be less likely to be attacked. And he finds out, well, that's actually where a ritual's being done that if it doesn't get stopped, the entire world's going to be doomed. Oh, crap.
Means anyways that he also is the most unluckiest commissar ever, except for the fact that he keeps surviving all this stuff, which means, ironically, he's the luckiest you can get. So it's kind of a catch-22 with him always, which is just entertaining.
He also constantly fights with, like, I'm going to have to do this because if I don't, then I'll lose all respect from my soldiers, and then I'll get shot in the back. This is immediate thought whenever it comes to it. It's like, I'll lose respect, immediately drops down to, and then they'll all hate me, and then they'll all want to kill me if I don't do this. So I gotta do it. Very humorous person. Definitely look him up. You'll find him really well written.
All scribed by Sandy Mitchell. One of the rare scribes that we don't talk about very often because, well, quite frankly, anyways, I think all she's ever done is scribed this book or this guy, who is actually, she is taking the memoirs of an Inquisitor, who I can't remember the name of right now.
No. The Inquisitor
is taking the memoirs. Yeah. So it's a biography of a biography of an autobiography.
What it is this Inquisitor taking stories that this person's written that is a facsimile of the biography that he actually wrote, that was being sold as morale material to the public.
So let me see if I got this right anyways. So the Inquisitor took the autobiography from Cirkus Kane, she wrote in her own little, excerpts and whatnot anyways to kind of give it more of a historical background and then to make it a biography of Cirkus Kane. And then Sammy Mitchell took the biography of the autobiography and repeated it and became another biography. Right?
Yes.
She
And
put
we're
it all together.
including the fact that there's another biography written for Cirkus Kane, not by himself, for Cirkus Kane.
Yes.
It
No,
was the morale.
they are definitely worth the read, though, by
them.
Sandy Mitchell. They are
Yeah.
fantastic. Person that is always with Cirkus Kane, we have to mention him because he is very important to all the stories, is Jurgen.
Right.
He's literally, anyways, to Cirkus Kane's Sherlock Holmes, he is Dr. Watson. Or he's Jeeves. That's probably the best way to describe it. He is definitely Jeeves.
That is a better comparison. Is he is Jeeves?
I didn't go with Jeeves originally just simply because I don't remember who Jeeves was attached to. Do you remember? Nobody remembers because Jeeves is the more entertaining person. But he is Cirkus Kane's. I mean, technically he's his butler, but that's not what they call him. He's
an adjutant.
Yeah, he's his adjutant. He was originally part of the what are they called?
Valhallans.
Yeah, Valhallans. Thank you.
One of the artillery.
Yeah. But he originally got a hold of Cirkus Kane. He's been with him ever since. The things that you got to remember about Jurgen is one, he's a blank, which makes things very interesting whenever they run into, like, for gene stealers or Tyranids or anything like that. And the second thing is that depending on how far away he is, the aspect of how far his blankness or his pariah gene goes out is about as far as you can smell him. Because he is also a quite pungent individual.
Yes. Maybe not that far, but
maybe not. But yeah,
some references of him being able to be smelled quite a far away.
I think my favorite thing ever, anyways, was that he got a hold of like this. It was like this bomb. I don't even remember much about the story. I just remember, anyways, he got a hold of like this chaos bomb, and because he's a blank, and the warp's attached to it, anyways, as he's holding it, it's diffused, and he gets knocked over by this like chaos sorcerer who grabs the bomb. He's like, "I will be victorious!" And he goes running off, and he gets about as far as he can get until the pariah gene or Jurgen's blankness dissipates, and then the bomb explodes. And he's very much, anyways, very much the butler Jeeves. He's very much, of course, right away.
And he can drive anything.
Oh, yeah. Jurgen in and of himself, anyways, they could write books about because he is that cool. But we do have to move on to the guy that actually you did more talking about than I did the last time when we talked about him, and that was Ursarkar E. Creed. Now, he's not a commissar. Far from it. He is the last Castellan of Cadia. He was the guy that was in charge of Cadia when Cadia fell. Now, he's famous for a couple of reasons. First off, he was known as the soldiers' general. He was very much in the trenches with his soldiers. He's also known because he lost Cadia.
Mind you, to be fair, I don't think any sort of commander...
Gilliman might have been able to hold it. But that's a Primarch we're talking about.
The Astra Militarum could have done probably a better job.
I didn't let you finish. My bad.
Maybe Solar Macarius, but he wasn't around then. So,
what about Trajan? Oh, no, wait, no. He's a custode.
Yeah, he's a custode. That doesn't work either. And I'm not sure if he would be able to personally, but
Trajan will put Trajan might be able to put a butt whooping on Abaddon. He's he's kind of a beefy dude.
No, I mean as a commander, not as a.
Oh yeah, as a commander, probably not.
Commander.
Castellan did go toe to toe with Abaddon. He didn't fare very well, but he did. He also technically survived because Trazine the Infinite. Yes, we're getting back to Trazine here. Showed up and put him in a Tesseract cube and disappeared before Cadia actually exploded. So he's technically still alive. His daughter is actually running a lot of the Cadians right now, and she's got the spunk that her dad has. So she's also right up there. But Castellan E. Creed, he is like whenever you picture, like in Terran 42, World War II, or World War I, that big old general with the cigar and don't give me any excuses, give me results. Why? Or
he has the war wounds, he has a cane, but he looks like he's still sturdy.
He looks like a giant. Yeah. The guy that's going to run out in front of everybody else out of the trenches, kind of thing. And then laugh as he's like murdering people on the other side. That's Urzikari Creed. When you think of generals, he's probably the best that I've read about, at least in 40K lore. He's also the guy, anyways, that during downtime, anyways, he never slept. He was always, anyways, in the encampments of his soldiers, talking to them, grabbing a beer or passing around, anyways, a flask of whiskey, kind of thing, talking, seeing how the day went. He's the guy that literally quoted the line, "Cadia stands." That was the last thing ever heard. I mean, it's one of those, anyways, when you hear that story, and we get to the very end of it, anyways, when we did Cadia stands, the very end story where you have I can't remember her name. She's an Inquisitor. She's flying off in this Thunderhawk. Greyfax, yeah. And just as it's shutting, anyways, you can see all the demons swarming in to, kill all that's left. And she just hears in this giant guttural voice, "Cadia stands," by the only person, anyways, that would hold the planet to the last, and that's Urzikari Creed. He was a great general, and he definitely earned 2 aliens' respect. Let's put it that way. But the last guy, anyways. Okay, I'm gonna let you talk a little bit more about this guy, Solar Macarius.
So Solar Macarius probably is. Actually, I think we found out that he is one of the most successful conquerors of the Imperium.
Human conquerors, yes.
Yes.
So no genetics, no nothing, just straight up human dude.
But he ended up actually advancing all the way till Halo Star System, and then finally, even if you wanted to go further, he finally realized that they weren't going to be able to go any further. Morale had just finally started to drop to the point where it wasn't going to work. And people are just afraid if you go any further what's going to happen, because lo and behold, there's really nothing that they know about what's further out there.
Well, that's as far as the Astronomicon went, too.
Yes.
Little did they know, anyways, that if they had just gone, anyways, a few light years past, they would have run into the Golden Empire, run by the Zorglings. But none of his men would actually follow him. So,
yeah.
Kind of was like, okay, fine, we'll head back. And on the way back, he dies.
Yeah.
He had a very short but brilliant campaign. He reconquered pretty much most of the Empire. And then...
Which is really saying something.
If you want to know more about Solar Macarius, what you need to do is go into an old history book and read about Alexander the Great on Terran 42. It's pretty much the same story with different characters. I'm just saying that he follows almost identical. Ironically, Yuxin, he almost follows identical, the same path. And the same thing happens when he dies. All of his generals are just like, I want to be in charge, and it just breaks everything up. It's terrible. Exactly the same, anyways, it would happen in the 40K galaxy. But yeah, he's considered the greatest general of all time, human general of all time in the Astra Militarum. But I think we covered the Astra Militarum enough. How about you talk about the Cog Boys? You know, those guys who supply the Empire with all their weapons of war.
Ah, yes. The Adeptus Mechanicus, formerly known as the Mechanicum, or just one of the things that we normally call them, it is a technological organization often known as the priesthood of Mars. It holds a monopoly on technological knowledge in the Imperium. Their forge worlds turn out the Imperium's most powerful and advanced weaponry and equipment. The organization's adepts, the tech priests, are vital in maintaining much of the Imperium's more technologically advanced equipment. In other words, they have pretty much all the tech knowledge, and they don't mind hoarding it.
You want to load bolts in that bolter right there? Better call the Mechanicum.
Yeah.
You want to fire that artillery right there? Well, better have a priest from the Mechanicum. Yeah. They kind of have a stranglehold on the Imperium.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say? Yes, yes.
And while it's technically considered part of the Imperium, it wasn't even originally part of it to begin with. There's this whole thing where they actually had their own empire, and then the Emperor showed up on Mars, and they decided, instead of being in a fight, I guess we'll just join and claim that the Emperor's the Omnissiah.
I mean, it just kind of shows you how terrible it would be if a system of the government held all the ammo and guns for a particular place that you live. Anyways, sorry, go ahead.
Anyways, the two areas that I'd rather be talking about the Adeptus Mechanicum is, one is the fact that the majority of them are actually vat-born. Mind you, some of them are picked up from priesthoods that, people that decide to worship the Messiah and become their own. The other thing is, for some reason, they have this brilliant idea in their head, or what's left of their head.
So
the more mechanical they get, the closer they get to perfection.
Yeah, I was about to say anyway. So the concept behind being part of the cult of the Mechanicum, or the Adeptus Mechanica, is that you need to shed your sinful ways and become more pure. And the way you do that, anyways, is become more mechanical. So, which means you're shedding particular body parts for mechanical parts.
Right.
That's why people, anyways, that are higher up on the echelon are more robotic than they are human.
And they claim that they'll be more logical, but quite often they're not. So their largest mistakes are not through logic, but emotions.
You'll probably get into that here in a minute. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead. I just need to make sure that people understood that.
Yeah.
They are definitely very much a cult. And the cult is, anyways, you sacrifice your humanity to become more machine, which means that you are cutting off pieces of yourself and replacing them with mechanical pieces.
And this also attributes to what they do to their soldiers as well.
Right.
Except for that case, they also pump.
You don't get a choice.
Right.
In it's just, you know what, you could use another arm, but I've got two working. Oh God, my arm! Yeah, we're gonna replace that with two robotic arms. But I like my arm. Now you're gonna like.
And by the way, we are going to start hitting you with these test tubes. Where are they? Well, they're full of wonderful drugs that you will not want in your body, but you're getting them anyways. So we have to talk to one of the two McGuffins of the Imperium.
Oh God, we're going to talk about Cole, aren't we? He is your favorite guy, after all.
The guy who has multiple minds in his head. Yeah, that guy. So, nobody knows what his actual origins were originally, but his first real claim to fame in the 41st millennium is when he pops up and helps save some people and then brings back Gilliman. So
we have joked many a times, anyways, that Belisarius Cawl is your favorite character, and every time that we do, you kind of groan and we laugh about it. Why do you hate him so much? It's probably, anyways. Let's boil it down. Well, okay. Before we do, though, real quick, anyways, yes, his two biggest points is that he raised Gilliman from the dead,
and he brought the Primaris Space Marines, which was actually something that Gilliman put him in charge of
back during the Horus Heresy. He's been around that long, by the way. So here's the question. Like I said, anyways, why do you hate him so much?
Well, first of all, he's a McGuffin.
Okay, we throw that term around and all the time, anyways. For those that don't know what a McGuffin is, would you explain what a McGuffin is?
It is, in most cases, in a story, a MacGuffin is basically that one thing that changes everything. It just happens to change everything.
It's a thingamajig. It's a what's it? It's a McGuffin.
Yeah. It's like,
normally,
we need something to be able to change the story to the positive. Well, we just randomly put in this one thing that just happens to make everything work out right.
Normally, it's a thing.
Yes.
Occasionally, though, it is a person. A good example of a MacGuffin in a story would be, okay, we're going to use this loosely, would be Gandalf the White and the Two Towers. At Helm's Deep, they're all getting the crap kicked out of them, and they go charging forwards, and they're about to die because they're about to be surrounded. But wait a minute! Here comes Gandalf the White with the Rohirrim behind him.
Yes.
I mean, technically, that's not a very good MacGuffin because it was actually foreshadowed.
Yeah, because they're just like, okay.
Yes.
In the
true MacGuffin, on the other hand, just randomly appears and saves everybody.
Yes.
So it would be like along the lines of if Gandalf hadn't told what's his face Strider. If he hadn't told Strider anyways on the third day, look to the north and you'll find me. If he hadn't actually said anything like that, and all of a sudden they're just like, well, it's better to fight standing up than lying down. Let's go attack them. And then magically Gandalf shows up and saves everybody.
Right.
He kind of did, but you kind of knew what was going to happen. That's why he's not really a true MacGuffin.
Right.
Or if what ended up happening is that they're about to be killed by all the Uruk-hai, and all of a sudden, poof, Gandalf appears on a horse right next to all of them, and then cast a wizardly spell anyways of like
fireball.
Yeah. Or fireball. Fireball! Boom! And it just like kills all of them. That would have been a MacGuffin. and like I said before anyways, and like you said before anyways, a MacGuffin is normally a thing. It's not normally a person. It would be like, actually a better example anyways is if they rode out there instead of Gandalf showing up, Strider's like, well, Gandalf gave me this glowing orb that I'm just talking about now. Let's throw it at the Uruk-hai. And he throws it at the Uruk-hai and they all die.
Yeah.
Like I said, normally a thing, rarely it is an actual person. And I wholeheartedly agree with you anyways. Belisarius' Call is a MacGuffin. He's just like, randomly shown up and we're like, ta-da! I'm going to change everything in the Imperium and how it works. And
there's almost no Space Marines in this chapter? Well, ta-da! I brought a few thousand of them! Here you go! Oh, Gilliman's kind of dead?
Poof! He's reborn! Yeah.
Oh, wait. There was that technology, right? For repulsors, things to make things hover. Well, guess what? I found out how to do it again. Poof!
I mean, he wouldn't have been as... Okay, let me put it this way anyways. He wouldn't have been a MacGuffin if we'd actually heard about this guy throughout all of lore. He's just not there.
Or if there's like
all we know is that Gilman gave him this quest anyways to re-engineer Space Marines, and he did it during the Great Scour. And then all of a sudden, 10,000 years later, he reappears at Cadia. So that's the problem. If during this time anyways, we had like some history of him anyways being part of the Cult of Mars or something. He's not part of any of it. During the Age of Apostasy, Belisarius' Call never shows up once.
He is technically part of the Cult of Mechanicus, but...
Well, no, he is. No, I'm not saying that he isn't. I'm just saying anyways is that there's no history of him.
Right.
And of all people anyways, the Cult of Mars should be able to give a history on everybody. I mean, they're all zeros and ones.
Apparently, he's had multiple minds try to take over him, and he's taken over them instead. It's really obscure and weird. But One person who doesn't trust him entirely, ironically enough, Gilliman. In fact, Gilliman won't turn him into Fabricator General because he doesn't trust him enough.
That's because he's a smart smurf.
He considers
He's not just
Call
Papa Smurf.
almost
He's a smart
heretic. That should tell you something. He considers him almost heretical. But moving on to 2 sections of the Mechanicum.
Well, okay. Well, no. Hang on a second here. Other than him being a McGuffin, what else don't you like about him? Because we've talked about McGuffins before. Cirkus Kane is kind of a McGuffin.
But this is a bad McGuffin. There's good McGuffins, and there's bad McGuffins.
Okay.
Bad McGuffin. One that's just like, we'll change the entire perspective of almost all of Warhammer 40k. In comparison to Cirkus Kane, it's like, well, a little thing here, a little thing there. Overall, it ends up changing something, not just all at once. Poof!
Okay.
We'll reshape it.
Let me ask it this way, anyways. If Belisarius Cawl got in a fight with Vashor the Artificer, who would you want to win? That's a tough question.
It's not a tough question.
Oh,
People
really?
won't like my answer.
Okay. Uh-oh. What is it?
Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if Cawl didn't help create Vashor, for one thing. But, so that should tell you something.
I can just see, get in the middle of this fight anyways. Call's like, Obi-Wan never told you about your father. And Vashor's like, he told me enough. He told me you killed him. And Call's like, no, Vashor. I am your father. I could totally see it anyways. Vashor being Call's son. The whole Darth Vader thing has become complete. It is the circle. The circle has become complete.
Okay, for those of you
honestly, anyways, who would you rather win, Cawl or Vashor?
That is, part of me wants to say Vashor. Part of me just wants to say that I want them both to kill each other.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay.
For those who don't know, Vashor is some call him a demigod. He may be considered, I think he's more towards a minor god, trying to work up to one of the main gods. He is basically the blacksmith for chaos, period.
He's together.
And he's created through those of intellect and those who wanted more technology and knowledge. And oh wait, I have no doubt the cult of the Mechanicum truly created Vashor.
I was going with Zinch, but yeah, Cawl, why not? It does make sense. Okay,
it does make sense.
Well, I think we bashed Cawl enough here, anyways. Why don't we move on to some of the things that Mechanicum's known for? I would say, anyways, they're probably the most known for, other than just straight up their ammunition and the STCs that they do, anyways, or STLs. Probably STCs. They're known for sexually transmitted diseases? No, they definitely aren't.
STDs.
Yeah, they're known for their STDs and STLs. Oh no. Gives crabs a whole new meaning. Anyways,
we're probably gonna cut that out.
Known for, okay, we gotta get through this. They're known for Titans and Knights. Now, technically, anyways, okay, so Knights are all run, or not Knights, Titans are all run by the Adeptus Mechanicus, correct?
They are run by the Collegia Tentacus,
which is all from Mars, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically.
The Knights, on the other hand, are different.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go with the Titans first.
Okay. And Collegio Titanica. I don't know why I completely screwed up the first time. I was like, nope, that doesn't sound right. So imagine about 5 buildings tall, walking mechs that are just basically artillery stacked on top of artillery stacked on top of artillery.
Why is that cathedral moving, my lord? Because it's not a cathedral.
Even though it looks like one for some reason.
They are the quirkiest looking mechs, I will say that. Okay, the bigger they get, the quirkier they get. They look more fortress-like than mech-like. But, okay, enough said anyways about the funniness anyways of what Titans are. Titans are actually pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, they are. They take a lot of engineers to work.
So how many are there anyways, technically? They starting from smallest to biggest anyways.
So there are a lot of them, but there's about 6 main ones, starting with the Warhounds. Then you have the...
Which you've mentioned anyways actually look more like Minotaurs. A couple of times from the pictures that we've gotten. Just simply because the guns look like they're actually coming out of the nose of it.
They're lights or something like that.
Yeah, so when they fire, there's like smoke that comes out of it. It looks like the nostrils, and they got like these horns. Some of them do. So it really does look like a Minotaur anyways, just like being pissed off and, like smoke coming out of it. It's really cool looking. And I'll definitely have that on Tales of Ash Rocket, but they are the smallest ones. They're considered scouts, right?
Right. If you can call it gigantic. Scout is relative. It's a frickin' Titan.
I mean, they're significantly larger than knights, and knights are quite low.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
Then you have the Reavers. You have
one of the things that is important about a Reaver class Titan too is that it actually has like stuff attached to the top of it that have firing capabilities. So it's the first one. So ironically, they kind of stage up very much like the Tau war suits and how they work.
The bigger they get, the more weapons they get.
More stuff they have, yes. Reavers look like they have a whole lot more anyways. Surface, air-to-surface missiles to them. But that would be the next one. What's the one after that?
You got the Warbringer, and then the Warlord, Warmaster, and then there's another one called the Emperor Titans. Which, yeah.
The Emperor Titans are the ones that look like fortresses that move. We talked about one, actually, we talked about Grimaldus in Armageddon. That was an Emperor class Titan.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
it looks like a fortress and cathedral and a Titan.
Explain why Titans are so cool. Actually, let's put it that way. Why do you think Titans are so cool?
Well, first of all, they're a massive mech. I mean, that itself. Okay, for some people that isn't cool, but
well, the Emperor Titans, for me anyways, what makes them cool is like, this is the church that will murder people and then walk on to the next city to murder more people.
Yeah.
It's a church, yes, with lots of guns.
Yeah.
That's those. I mean, my personal favorite are the Emperor Titans and then the Hounds. The Hounds are, I think, are pretty cool too anyways, because they're really fast moving.
Yeah, and they're also much more hunched over and have their arms more extended, like, instead of most of these other ones that look more humanoid. It really doesn't look nearly as humanoid.
Right. But that's me personally. Why do you like Titans?
I like them because they're walking machines of mass destruction in the forms of robots. Do kind of like the Knights better, actually, because I think they look cooler and because they're more... They have more of a medieval look to them, too.
So that's a good segue, actually. Why don't you only smooth into the Knights here real quick? So what are the Knights? Why are they different than Titans?
First of all, during the Dark Age, and when all that crap hit the fan, a lot of planets broke off from basically the Imperium, due to like storms and what have you. So these expeditions were made, and they come across these places that had what are called Knights. They are feudal worlds, basically, and their engines of force are Knights. And when the Mechanicum would come, normally they'd be greeted pretty well by the nobility there. But not all of them actually joined the Mechanicum, which is another interesting thing. Some of them were either Ronin, or called Ronin, or a rogue house, which means they don't go either way. They aren't chaos, though. You had the ones that joined the Adeptus Mechanicus, and actually there's some that didn't join that, but actually joins the Adeptus Terra, which, for those who don't know, the Adeptus Terra was what the military was called before it broke into like 5 different groups. Most notable is the Astra Militarum and the Navis. Astra Navis.
Also known as the Imperial Army. Yeah.
Yes. But I like the fact that they are not like gung-ho Adeptus Mechanicus. They may like the Adeptus Mechanicus and be grateful to them, but they aren't like, I'm going to try to turn more machine, because they come from feudal world, feudal society.
Right. Well, they're also run different than Titans, right?
Yeah. They aren't run by like who knows how many people. You actually had knights running these things. You don't have somebody strapped into a tank with. So let's put it this way: Terran 42. Imagine Gundam.
Well, actually, it's a little bit more than that, isn't it? It's more like the command deck of like a battleship, right?
Well, except for only one person needs to man it, so it'd be much smaller.
Well, I thought that they had people, anyways, that actually controlled, like, for instance, the armaments. You have one person that controls the momentum, and then somebody else, anyways, controls armaments and other things.
That would be the Titans.
Well, I thought that the huge difference, though, is that with Titan... Okay, I thought the big difference, though, between the two was that you had kind of both the same things, anyways, with both of them. The difference, though, is that your guy that was in control of a Titan is also strapped into a, dare I say, heretically, anyways, an AI system that also, or the machine spirit that runs
Which
the
is
Titan.
not AI.
Right, it's not AI. Not AI. Not at all. I don't know why I said AI. It's AI. But anyways, those two components, anyways, that person's mind and the AI, machine spirit, run the Titan. Along with a bunch of other people, anyways, very much like a ship. A knight, on the other hand, normally, anyways, it's just one guy, anyways, that runs the whole thing. But if it's a big enough knight, you would have like a couple other people, like co-pilots, that help out.
It would have to be, though, like one of the very large ones that they have.
So knights do get to a point where they get large enough that it requires a couple co-pilots.
I believe
But no machine spirit or AI, right?
No.
Okay. Titans, on the other hand, you start out, anyways, they're that big.
Yeah.
Okay. So that really is the huge difference, is the machine spirit.
Well, that plus they don't have nearly as large a crew.
Oh, the knights? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So both actually are very cool. They're both mech warriors. Why don't we keep talking about these guys? That way, anyways, I don't have to talk about these last guys.
Well, we need to finish, so we are going to talk about the last guys.
Okay, fine.
Hey, you get to at least talk about the Grey Knights, though.
I was going to let you talk about them, actually, but okay. Regardless, before we take off, there is one more branch that we need to discuss.
We actually bypassed a lot of organizations. We just unfortunately don't have the time.
Quite right, Yuxin. Sure, we could talk about the Assassinorum, which are actually pretty cool, and we might do that at the end here, or the High Lords of Terra. But we have only so much time. We have to talk about, I hate to say it, the Inquisition. Now, when people talk about the worst of humanity, they're normally referring to the Inquisition. They are quite terrible for one very important fact. They are what happened when you give a governmental organization complete power with no oversight. Now, there are 3 major parts of the Inquisition: the Ordo Heretic, the Ordo Xenos, and Ordo Malleus. Now, you must understand, each one of these Ordos came into being for good reason. It's just, unfortunately, they have been corrupted by humanity's own nature. It's greed and lust for power. I'm also saying that not every Inquisitor is a bane on society. There are a few, in fact, that keep to their task and try to do their job in the best of their ability. But they are few, far between. Now, each of these three ordos we aren't going to get into, because mainly we already did that, and I really don't want to talk about the Inquisition. But they also have 3 militant arms attached to them, and we will get into them starting with the Ordo Heretic, which has the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Sororitas. Now, out of all 3 of them, I think you would admit with me, Yuxin anyways, the Adeptus Sororitas is probably our least favorite of the 3.
Yeah.
Ordo Militant. Which, by the way, nothing against them. It's just the other 2 were really cool.
Well, that plus they are normally connected to the
Ecclesiarchy.
witch hunters. So
and the Ecclesiarchy, which okay, so we discussed this during our timeline. We've also mentioned it a few times. The Adeptus Sororitas is the Sisters of Battle. They originally were the wives of the Emperor during the Age of Apostasy. Then they found out that the Emperor not the Emperor, but the guy that was running the Imperium at the time anyways was terrible, Gauge Van Deer. So they ended up killing him. And then the Ecclesiarchy, the guy who ended up running the Ecclesiarchy, realized that no men should ever have that much control over any militant forces. So to put in a little bit of a side note, he goes, you know what we'll do instead? We'll take these wives of the Emperor and we'll turn them into a militant for the Ecclesiarchy. So no longer,
in other words, is he went through the loophole of, well, there isn't any men, it's just women. Right. So we could have like 1 million women. It wouldn't matter.
Right. Exactly. Now, the Adeptus Sororitas, at this point anyways, have moved on as being a militant branch, not just for the Ecclesiarchy, but also for the Ordo Hereticus. Which means, anyways, they are completely and utterly devout to the Emperor, and they have always, anyways, been burn the heretic, burn the mutant, and, well, quite frankly, anyways, we hate the Xenos too, but we really don't deal with them as much. As for the next militant, anyways, that we will be talking about here in a few minutes. The Sororitas is developed into a bunch of different factions. It starts with actually the Ordo Militant aspect of it, and then there's also there's 2 different branches to it. There is what?
There's also the Hospitalator.
Yeah, they're part of the other branch, and for the life of me, I can't remember it. We talked about these guys a year ago. Which literally boils down to, anyways, you've got some fighting sisters, and you've got some helping sisters. It's the best way to describe it. On the helping sisters side, you've got, like my brother said anyways, the Hospitalers, who are like the best medics in the Imperium. There's no medics that are better than them. Unfortunately, they're very few and far between. Yeah. So normally anyways, you get your regular Astra Militarum medic who doesn't care about you and is actually quite frankly tired of his job. Oh, another person I have to deal with that is dying. I'm dying? Crap, I wasn't supposed to say that. But yeah, you want some morphine? You know?
Yeah.
Or we could just give you a bullet. I don't have any more morphine. You know, yeah.
I ran out of that 2 weeks ago.
Whiskey, laudanum, saw. So the Ordo Hospitalers, they're regarded across the entire Imperium by the Astra Militarum as literally angels.
Yeah,
on the battlefield, they are always welcomed. They're always loved. And there are a couple other branches that are part of that non-militant group. There are some, anyways, that help out ambassadors. What was the third group? There was a third group that, for life, me anyways, I can't remember what they did. I think they were like the science nerds. No one, by the way, anyways, whenever you talk about the Adeptus Sororitas, no one will ever talk about any of these branches that we're talking about right now. So we probably don't have to talk about them anymore.
Right.
We're talking about beginners ones. And then you've got the other branch, which is all about combat. And there's, I think, 6 of those.
Which we aren't going to talk about all of them.
Which we aren't going to talk about, but they're all designed anyways on death, destruction, mayhem. They're the ones you see anyways, the black skin-tight armor, but the giant shoulder pads and the bolters just like, murdering people. That's them.
Which, on the battlefield, actually can be a morale booster, too. But
huge morale booster.
good, somebody else is going to actually do something.
Not only that, but just the
power armor.
The bolters. You're sitting there with that flashlight going, and all of a sudden you hear, kind of thing. You're like, yes, thank you.
We have backup.
Yeah. They're also extremely well trained. Honestly, anyways, they're great. The problem I have with them is that they are
zealots.
They are so zealous on things. Anyways, they just have been taught that is so backwards to what the Emperor really wanted. That's the thing that's just so frustrating about them. They have complete and utter faith in the Emperor as a god. The Emperor never wanted to be a god. In fact, the whole Horus Heresy started because he wanted people to know anyways he wasn't a god. So it's just they're kind of frustrating for me. And you said anyways, I have to talk about Celestine. Celestine. Yeah, okay. So real quick anyways, there's also these things known throughout the Imperium called Saints. And those are people that apparently anyways believe so fervently in the Emperor that they were able to be reborn. Celestine happens to be one of these, and she was originally a sister of battle. Now she's really not. She is
a McGuffin.
A winged demon of the Emperor. Am I wrong? I know you laugh, but am I wrong? She's really a winged demon of the Emperor.
I think some would say vengeful angel instead of demon.
They might. Angel, demon, Emperor, God. Yeah, you can talk about it the way you want to. To me, anyways,
have horn or red skin. So
she's a fervent believer of a warped deity, and therefore she was reborn into such culture. So therefore, instead of being a Primarch demon, she is a Imperial demon. That's the way I would describe it. She looks a lot like Sanguinius. Well, okay. In female form. No blonde hair. Black hair instead. Very good looking. With wings and a sword. And she goes around and hacks people up.
With two silent partners.
Yeah. I will say, though, that she was... I don't really like her. In case nobody got that here. I will say the one thing of note that she really did, though, is that she started the Celestine Crusade, which got Guilliman back up and running. Why don't you go ahead and tell us, anyways, about the Ordo Malleus's military grouping? And that would be the Grey Knights.
Yeah.
And they are kind of Space Marines and kind of not. Why don't you go ahead and explain that there, Yuxin?
No. They have the genetic makeup of, instead of being taken from a Primarch specifically, they were taken from the Emperor instead. They were not molded like the Custodes were, though. The original ones were taken from different loyalist, or actually in one case it was a heretic legion, but the person wasn't a heretic.
But a majority of them were from traitor Space Marine legions.
That were actually loyalists.
Right.
Themselves.
They showed up and they proved themselves to Malcador and the Emperor. And then I believe anyways, this is right before the Siege of Terra.
Yeah, they got whisked away to Titan, which was then hidden partially in the warp, I believe. And
just as good as mine.
from then on,
There are things that Malcador painted like pixies all over Titan to hide it because Perturabo came through anyways. Like, that looks pretty. What is it? What is that? It's too pretty to be Imperial. Move on. It's kind of. It was just a big smiley face that he painted across the front of it. It's like, oh, that's nice. Yeah, moving on. You know.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
the Grey Knights, then I don't think they even reappear until I think the first time that they really are shown to show up is maybe during the First War of Armageddon. I can't think of any other case right offhand I can think of where they really
incredibly secretive.
Yeah.
So yeah, in Imperial records, they don't show up very often. Technically anyways, they didn't show up until 832.M33 on a desolate planet of Forlore, where they cornered a radical Inquisitor Vetrix. After enacting its Icanic Necrolis upon the Segmentum Solar, Vetrix had been declared a heretic by his Ordo. The Inquisitor was dragged back to the dungeons of Titan, pleading with his stony-faced captors that the Necrolis was the Imperium's only hope for survival. Ironically, because we know this, he was right. Yeah, the Imperium always kicks itself in the teeth every day. But yes, going back to what you were saying anyways, Space Wizards, all of them. Interesting.
Yes, all of them. Psychers. And one of the ways that they make sure that they won't become traitors is they take a demon, have a Grey Knight get possessed by the demon, and then have them kill the demon. And if they can't, they are killed. Well, you failed. Sorry, son. You failed, and now that you're inhabited by a demon, we must kill you. Fine. Their job is killing demons. Not to say that they can't kill other things pretty well.
Right.
I mean...
it's the months of shame. Yeah.
Yes. You don't have a whole bunch of stormtroopers out there. You didn't have a whole bunch of stormtroopers out there. You just had Grey Knights out there.
I can bring it up as much as I want anyways. That literally anyways is the worst part of the Grey Knights history. The Grey Knights are, simply to put it in a word, awesome.
Yes, they are.
I mean...
And their armor looks awesome too. I mean...
we argued anyways at one point, it was like, who could win in a duel, an Adeptus Custode, who, by the way, are significantly better Space Marines when you're talking about physically as a warrior anyways. Who wins? An Adeptus Custode or a Grey Knight? It's an interesting argument.
And then we threw the caveat in there. Well, if he could use psychic powers, it was like, well then...
Well, we actually took two caveats. We did one anyways, where it was if you can't use psychic powers, in which case anyways the Adeptus Custodes wins, right?
Yeah.
And then we did the other one anyways, where it was 3-on-3, and you can use whatever you want. And we were like, Grey Knights, probably Grey Knights.
Now, mind you, anyways, first of all, know exactly where you are as soon as you entered the field. The range would be like, and then I can just zap you.
Battle wizards. I mean, yeah. Normally, anyways, when you think of, like, for instance, you guys on Terran 42, when you think of wizards, you think of it as like, well, like Gandalf, where it's like, well, if you can get close to him and you're at least competent, you could probably kill him. Okay, Gandalf's probably a really bad example of that because he was pretty good with a blade too, but. Okay, Harry Potter. You got close to Harry Potter with a sword, yeah, you can probably kill him, because he's just a little kid with a stick. Sure, anyways, 20 feet away, he can launch whatever wizardly powers he wants, but when you get close and you got a battle axe and he's got a stick, battle axe normally wins.
Now, imagine a Grey Knight is somebody in armor, he has a hammer or a sword or whatever, and on top of that, some of his abilities can, enhance those weapons instead of having to shoot at you. All of a sudden, they have a flame that's like 10 feet long off this sword. Yeah.
I was about to say, now imagine anyways getting close to Harry. Instead, though, of being a little kid with a stick, he's an 8-foot tall gentleman. With a giant sword that wreathes flame. It's like, it turns it different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In complete armor.
Yes. And in his other hand, he has lightning.
He's like, oh man, they said get close. It's not going to work with this guy.
I'll electrocute you and fry you so there's nothing left.
Well, mind you, anyways, we also did another scenario, anyways, where it was a squad of Space Marines in a jungled area versus a squad of Death Watch. Who's the guys that we're going to be talking about next. And that one we kind of debated on. Was that?
Against just normal Space Marines versus Death Watch? Oh, yeah, Death Watch wins.
No, we did Grey Knights. We actually...
Yeah, against Grey Knights, that was a harder...
That's a very interesting conversation.
We thought that they would definitely... the Death Watch would definitely beat the Custodes.
On that one, yeah. With Grey Knights, on the other hand, anyways, we lean towards the Death Watch, but at the same time, anyways, we're like, yeah, but they're still Grey Knights.
They're still Grey Knights.
They got that whole we can see you wherever you are, kind of thing.
We can probably see where you are.
Yeah. So, Death Watch. Just this is by far, anyways, out of all three of the Ordos, probably my favorite. They are the special forces of the special forces. They're
like Delta Force.
Yeah. We did a whole Vox on them anyways, on kind of the descriptions of the different types of Death Watches, and we compared them to Terran 42 Special Forces. It was a really cool show, and I recommend you guys actually listen to it. But it's literally anyways, so this is how Death Watch works, is that they are attached to the Ordo Xenos. And what it is that they handpick different guys from different chapters of Space Marines and put them together and turn them into a kill team. So it's like, we want a guy that's really good at melee. Well, we'll take the Space Wolf. We want a guy that's really good anyways at sneaking in places. We'll take this Raven Guard. We're going to put them together along with, let's add a couple Ultramarines and then maybe an Imperial Fist. And, just for giggles, we're going to add a Carcharodon in here.
Yeah.
And now we want you all to work together. And mind you, anyways, it normally takes them a couple months to actually figure out anyways what they're doing. But then they actually, because they also get taught by the Death Watch how to work as a kill team.
Yeah.
It literally is. You're taking the best of the best, the cream of the crop, and you're putting them together in one unit and saying, go burger.
I can just see
they do very well.
When they all set up for like, okay, this is your first training group, and they're like all different. They would normally be conflicting with each other. It's like, okay, here's the rule right now. Any of you messes with any of you other ones, one of the officers is just gonna beat you in until you finally get along.
Until you finally figure it out. Which, by the way, you probably don't need with Space Marines. I mean, we've actually, when we talk about the Black Templar, they actually have set up before these guys go to become part of the Death Watch. They're like, okay, so we have actually a training regimen before you get to the Death Watch.
Yeah.
So that you can deal with librarians, which we don't talk about, or people anyways that have problems with the Emperor being a god, like those Space Wolf guys. Like, we literally have a training program before you get to the Death Watch.
Yeah.
So that you can deal with them. They are, like I said, anyways, they literally are the best of the best of the best. The Space Marines.
And they get all the cool stuff.
Oh, yeah. They have the best equipment out of everybody. The only people they don't actually pull from are the Grey Knights.
Yeah.
The Grey Knights are the only Space Marine chapter that they don't. Because technically, the Grey Knights aren't really a Space Marine chapter. We're going to talk about Grey Knights at some point.
They're chapter 666.
Oh, jeez. But yeah. The Death Watch are the most, pardon my French, they are the most badass men in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Is there any other better way to explain them? If there is, tell me.
And I do love the fact that the Death Watch are also built off of, okay, we're actually going to put these people, we actually mold it to the situation and still have them be somewhat adaptable so that they actually will operate in small groups. Not this huge aspect of, okay, we're going to have them just stay here in a line and protect this area.
They're all kill teams.
They're kill teams.
Designed as kill teams, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they can if they really had to, but really, that's not their job.
If they really had to, you could group a whole bunch of kill teams together along with some artillery, and you could make like a horrible, terrible, scary aspect anyways of an army.
Oh, yeah.
That's not what they're designed for. They're designed for, it's like, we've got 5 or 6 guys. We're going to go in. We're going to kill thousands.
Oh, and
to get to our objective.
Yes, they are not compliant with the Codex Austramitarium.
Yes. Probably the first meeting they had is like, okay, so this is the Codex Austramitarium. They just throw it into the trash can.
Light on fire.
Very much like this Top Gun Maverick, where he's like, this is all you need to know about the F-18. Throws it into the garbage.
And ironically, you do tours in this. Unless you want to stay longer, it's a tour. But you are not able to tell anything that you've seen
right
there after you come back.
So when you get out of that, you can tell people anyways, yeah, I was part of the Death Watch. That's about it. Oh, what happened to the Death Watch? We killed people. You did?
Really well.
Mainly we actually killed Xenos, but we also killed some people too. Yeah. How'd you do that? Brutally.
Lots of books. You know,
with extreme prejudice.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't give us any
fun stuff. What stuff?
Yeah, we had this cool stuff. We had this one gun that. Oh yeah, I forgot. I can't tell you.
What?
The end of the conversation.
Oh look, a squirrel. No.
Oh look, a squirrel. What's that? Anyways, we're moving on about how we were going to deal with this insurrection right now. No, you were talking about the Death Watch. Was I? No, I wasn't talking about that. Nah. I can't talk about that. They're like Fight Club. The first rule about Fight Club, or the first rule about Death Watch, is we don't talk about Death Watch. The second rule about Death Watch, we don't talk about Death Watch. So, I mean, you got anything else about the Death Watch? Okay, for those of you, anyways, that are beginners to Warhammer 40k, we did a couple of boxes on the Death Watch. We did a whole month actually on it for Hellraiser. They are awesome.
Yeah,
definitely worth anyways plugging into here. But Yuxin, for beginners, other than that, anyways, you got anything for him?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Well, on that note, we are out of time. Now, join us next week as we actually talk to some beginners as well as some people, anyways, that know a little bit more about 40k, all from Terran 42, including the Ladder Lord himself, Colin.
Fantastic. But for those of you who enjoyed our little show, could you please be so kind as to push that subscribe, like, or follow button? If you wish to help us expand our work on 40k lore, by all means, support us by joining our membership program on our YouTube channel, Tales of Ashraka. Right now we have 4, but we could use more.
Hey, that rhymes!
Oh, and don't forget to purchase the Jotunheim.
Yes.
Sold wherever ebooks are sold.
We're working on paperbacks, by the way, but most importantly, have a great day. And until next time, this is Ekthar
and Yuxin
signing off.